Hello, you're watching The Big Story with me, Chiao Suen. Subscribe to the Straits Times channel to stay up to date with our live news updates. And the latest COE tender exercise closing with higher premiums in all categories. The price for commercial vehicles hitting a fresh high, while there's another record high in the open category. Premiums for Category E, which is usually used for larger cars, is also seeing the biggest increase of almost $13,000. It ended at slightly above $118,000, which is an increase of 12.4%. Premiums for Category B also went up to close at about $115,000, while Category A premiums ended at over $86,500. This is the first tender exercise since Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister Lawrence Wong, in his Budget 2023 speech, announced an additional registration fee of 320% for cars with an overseas market value that is higher than $80,000. Our senior transport correspondent, Linian Zhou, tells us more about the impact of the new tax hike on this tender exercise, as well as how future tender exercises may pan out.
I would say maybe just as important as the new announcement is the fact that the market was waiting for the budget. Now that it's post-budget, it's business as usual again. Today we also saw that commercial COEs have hit a new high. On one hand, it's really a result of having a scarcity in supply of these COEs, but also there's actually a new rebate that kicks in from April 1st, where vehicles that are registered under the new regime is going to lose some rebates compared to doing it now. And I believe that that's really a big momentum or a big motivation for companies to secure the COEs to put the commercial vehicles that they have on the road. In terms of what to expect in the coming bids, I would say COEs are not going to be cheap overnight or over the next 2 weeks. So, I mean, just hang on to your hats.
Meanwhile, there's reassuring news for the growing number of electric vehicle owners in Singapore, with another 2,000 EV charging points set to be installed in a third of or more than 700 Housing Development Board car parks across the island. Transport Minister S. Ishwaran said this while rolling out the first charging points under a large-scale tender awarded in November 2022. That will deploy some 12,000 chargers at nearly 2,000 HDB car parks by 2025. Singapore is aiming to have more than 60,000 EV charging points island-wide by 2030 to cater to this growing market. There's already nearly 10,000 EVs on the roads here, with the Land Transport Authority noting that electric cars took up close to 12% of all new car registrations last year. And in Parliament today, the members began their debate on Budget 2023. Leader of the Opposition Workers' Party's PRITAM Singh opened the debate by stressing the importance of redistributing income in the country and guarding against two Singapores emerging, one that's separated by social class.
One theme that was carried by some outlets, both mainstream and online, was that this year's budget was a, I quote, Robin Hood budget. Referring to it as such pits one group, high earners and the rich, against the lower and middle classes. When some commentators characterize the budget as a Robin Hood budget, they reinforce the perception of two Singapores being created. To combat both the perception as well as the reality in some quarters of two Singapores inexorably emerging, redistribution must be at the core of government policies. In an Institute of Policy study of social capital in 2017, the report stated the sharpest social divisions in Singapore may be based on class instead of race or religion. The perception of two Singapores that we must guard against, which I raised earlier in my speech, reinforces the point that fiscal redistribution, better social protections, and greater support for our most vulnerable Singaporeans must remain a mainstay of our future budgets.
And one topic that was on everyone's mind and in their speeches was the increase in CPF salary ceiling. MP for Bukit Panjang Liang Eng Hua was one member who said his constituents had voiced their concerns about the issue.
One other measure that I have also heard concerns is the phased increase in the CPF monthly ceiling to $8,000. As inflation is expected to stay elevated in the next few years, my concern is that raising the ceiling at this juncture will add further cost pressures to businesses. and also reduce the take-home pay of middle-income households just when they need the cash to meet the higher cost needs. While I can understand and support the rationale for the raise, I hope that the government can also review the implementation timing of these measures.
And those are our top stories for today. Visit straitstimes.com for more news and our YouTube channel for more videos. Subscribe by hitting the red button below. I'm Chao Suen, and I'll see you tomorrow on The Big Story.